All right, you guys. So I made a video the other day talking about how Xbox, well, Microsoft that is, the mothership of Xbox has already decided they're moving full steam ahead into the next generation of consoles, and how they're really hyping it up that this next generation of consoles is going to be, something fierce. It's going to be a vast technical jump, right? And making this video, there was a ton of comments, and I mean a ton of comments. And I am actually going to make this video in response to some of those comments. And I've pulled up some articles that we could talk about as well. And a lot of this had it kind of tickled my brain and had me thinking. So we're going to talk about this and the different comments down below. And let's get into it. I think it's funny how like the first comment here, it's exactly. Let me blow. I don't know. I don't think I can blow it up anymore. Okay, I can. Okay, so basically the first comment here goes, "Dude, I swear the Xbox is turning into some kind of browser for video games," which 100% it is. For the most part, all PCs, all these things are browsers for games because for the most part, people are downloading games and playing them digitally. Which leads me right into this next point. The homie right here says, from what I've heard, very few companies exist now that can manufacture disk drives. I don't think you're right on that. So I went out and bought an Xbox Series X just yesterday, and I got it for my Xbox 360 games mainly. I know that they won't all work, but I'm pleased that I bought it. I own the original PS5 as well, but I just want to game on the Xbox right now. So the reason why I don't agree with his first part of the statement there, from what I hear, very few companies exist that manufacture discs. Like I said for the previous statement, I think it's not a good statement. The people are still out there manufacturing disk drives and everything, but like I said for the last one, a lot of people are going to like basically downloading video games or streaming them, which there are streaming services out there you can play games on, like Luna for Amazon. Of course, other than not having many good new exclusives for the Xbox, the Series X is a great console, which I 100% agree it is. This is one that kind of tickled me because I like how this guy puts it. Hardware doesn't make a company flourish. Quality software does, and Xbox figures out how. I think it's supposed to out how to do that on a consistent level. They will always be in a mess. I agree. I don't think they've had really good like software, especially a dashboard, since the Xbox 360. I know I'm probably going to get flamed for that, but I feel like the Xbox 360 was the prime, and I mean the prime of Xbox. I think it was the golden age of online gaming because it was very simple. And I think talking about software, I think they're onto something. And that is I think the PlayStation software is actually very well done, very well put together. It has an option for media, it has an option for games, right? And we're going to bring up some specs real quick for the PS5 versus the Xbox Series X. They both sell for $500. Okay. We're not going to talk about exclusives. We're not going to talk about backwards compatibility. Look at the CPUs. The CPU for the PlayStation 5 is an 8-core 3.5 gigahertz AMD Zen 2. Like I've said in many videos past, a lot of the times when it comes to making consoles, a lot of R&D goes into it, and they get custom cards and custom CPUs. Then we have a 10.3 teraflop AMD RDNA2. Oh my god, I can't speak today. Versus the 12 teraflop AMD RDNA2 for the Series X. So technically, the Series X GPU is way more powerful. Followed by same RAM, storage. I think the NVMe SSD for the Xbox Series X, of course, much faster. Resolution up to 8K, up to 120 frames. And of course, the disk drive, the Series X is always going to have the disk drive. Now, they may end up releasing a Series X without a disk drive, but that still has yet to be seen. And of course, the PlayStation 5, the standard PlayStation 5 is the only one that has it. But at the end of the day, like I said, the software for the PlayStation 5, I think is just much cleaner. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm an Xbox fan. I love my Xbox. And I think that this right here shows you that software does make or break you. And especially exclusives. Hopefully you're listening, Microsoft. Exclusives, because if you're looking at it, you have all kinds of really good exclusives for the PlayStation 5. And PlayStation keeps their exclusives super tight to the chest, where Microsoft, obviously, over the last couple months, has not done that. Let's get into the next one. Homie here says, because the Xbox Series X and S are not next-gen machines, but mid-gen refreshes. Wrong. I'm sorry, dude. I'm going to blast you on this one. We just showed the statistic, like the stats side by side of the PlayStation 5 and the Series X. What holds back the Series X, period, end of story, is the Series S. A lot of the problems that Microsoft's running into is the Series S, because they have agreements with all these game developers that when they're going to make a game for the Xbox, it damn well better come out for the Series S as well. So that's what's holding it back. When you look at it right here, sorry guys, performance, right? So of course we've already covered that the Xbox Series X has 12 teraflops of computing power, up to 4K resolutions, 120 frames a second, 16 gigs of RAM. Where if you come down here, this is by Popular Mechanics, by the way. So this is a legitimate, credible source. The Xbox Series S runs at 3.6 gigahertz, where the Series X runs at 3.8. The Xbox Series S has 4 teraflops, where the Series X has 12, right? And 10 gigs of RAM versus the 16 gigs of RAM. Like I said, it only feels like a mid-generation like refresh because of the Series S. I think that's what ultimately shot Microsoft in the foot with this generation, was offering the lower price point with the Series S, vice just strictly going Series X. Because let me tell you, the Series X, for the most part, is going to outperform the PlayStation 5. Period. End of story. There's not going to be... Okay, so homie here. There's not going to be able to do it until 2027 in the earliest. And it hasn't been 7 years yet. The 4090 isn't next-gen graphics card when you compare it to the 3090. NVIDIA just loves making new graphics cards just like Apple loves making new iPhones. Wrong. I'm not even going to pull up the stats because homie here said he's 100% right. You can look at all the line scores and everything. The 4090 outperforms by 60% on the 3090. I have a 3090 in my PC, and like, don't get me wrong, my 3090 will allow me to stream and do all kinds of stuff, and I have everything bound to the GPU. But he's 100% right. GPUs go in 2-year life cycles. They don't go in 7-year increments, much like consoles. That doesn't mean that the 4090 is not next gen. Graphics cards won't be released until 2027, 2028 when the PS6 is released. If you think the PS5 Pro is the next generation console, you're wrong. 100% right. Don't get me wrong. There's going to be a performance boost when it comes to the PlayStation 5 Pro, which is going to be Sony's only way of them justifying pushing people to buy the PlayStation Pro. Homie here, I'm not talking about console gens. I'm talking about GPU gens on a 2 to 3 year cycle. All right, we're done with that topic. Hey, Xbox, here's a hint. Accept Steam and introduce VR. Promote VR through Steam and MetaQuest and as well. The Xbox X is already more capable in VR than the PlayStation 5 is. Don't want to waste money on creating your own. Adopt the competition. 100% right. And I 100% agree with this guy because basically freaking here we're going to throw a like on that. For the most part, when it comes to it, right? Xbox is basically outed itself and allowing their exclusives to go to other platforms, PlayStation, Switch, all that stuff. Why not try to get in bed with Steam? Steam has such a massive player base. It only makes sense to try to get in bed with them and potentially draw people over, especially people with younger kids that you could throw your Steam account on, have parental controls, and you don't have to worry about setting up keyboards, mouses, and all that stuff. Here's a controller, have at it. Or, I think it's a great idea. And potentially negotiating with Facebook to get Meta to pair with them makes sense. And on top of that, hold on, Phil Spencer says he's open, because Phil Spencer has already said he's open to bringing stores like Epic and itch.io to the Xbox consoles. I know this was published March 26, 2024, but I think a lot of that has to deal with like how he is. I don't think it says anything about Steam on here, but I did read an article talking about Steam. But I do believe it would be a good idea to bring those game storefronts to the Xbox platform. He goes, I got an Xbox Series X a few months ago, and I got a PS5 console first 2 years or so, and I've had good sized physical library and games. Yeah, I 100% agree. Somebody did say, I think it's lower down here, something about that. I always said that the Xbox One Series X was going to be the shortest lifespan of all times, and it was essentially a continuation of the Xbox One, which I do not agree with this guy. But I do feel that it is the next-gen platform. They need to stop talking about technical specs and focus on a roadmap of high-quality titles. Bingo. That is how they're going to pull themselves out of a hole, is if they get high-quality titles out there, period. End of story. I know they want to believe up and down that high-quality titles don't drive sales, when in fact, they do. How is more money and more subscribers year over year struggling? I'd agree that the statement on Xbox isn't growing fast as Xbox wants, but Xbox is growing. Those numbers just mean they're not growing as fast as last year. 100% agreed. 100% agreed. I think it's just one of those things where they're not seeing the growth that they're expecting. And then on top of that, the acquisition of Activision Blizzard really put them, in the spotlight with Microsoft, because you're spending $7 billion on a studio, or however much, I think, or 70, I don't know. It's neither here nor there. But spending all that kind of money, right, they have to produce. They have to be able to put titles out there. They got to get consoles in the hands of people, because they got to be able to be like, hey, we got the numbers. We're doing good. They should update every 2 years with better tech. If you buy so, or I agree with this guy, which is like every couple years they got to do a mid-generation up, like, refresh. Period. End of story. Because technology moves so fast that you're going to end up behind the 8 ball eventually. But I think that mid-generation updates are not bad, so I'll give that guy a like. This generation's halfway done. The PlayStation 5 will be replaced with PS5 Pro this year. If the PlayStation 5 Pro is going to replace it, why even say that the console is in the late stage of life? Homie here was wrong. He said, Song, who is, I believe, the president of Sony or whatever, said we are at the midpoint of this generation, not the late stage. Right here. Here, we'll blow it up. One of the reasons for the decline in sales could be the natural progression of the game console. Sony recently announced that PlayStation 5's release in 2020 is now in the latter stages of its life cycle. It's in its latter stages of its life cycle. I know Sony and I know Microsoft were talking potentially about pushing a new console next year. 2025, that is. So I would not be surprised if they really try to push and get that out. I always hear console sales are down. I know the PlayStation or the Switch. So, like, I feel like the Switch is definitely an outlier, because the Switch has been around for 7 years already. And the Switch 2 has yet to be announced. And people are still buying Switches. Like, the Switch outsold the Xbox. Y'all think about that. But I feel like console sales go down as the life cycle obviously progresses because people that already have one are not going to buy another one. And then on top of that, like, they're looking to cha-ching cash out. I've been on the Xbox since the OG Airbrick. I have no idea been so loyal this time. I'm sick of not getting no games, which I 100% agree. That's why I ended up going to PC. I don't care how powerful the next Xbox or what they promise. I don't care how many companies they buy. None of it equates to good games. This generation has been worthless. I'm buying a PlayStation X. I'm not going to lie. I play my PlayStation way more than my Xbox. But I will admit I got the Game Pass. I re-upped and I've been playing some games on there. There are some pretty decent like indie titles. Um okay, this is where this guy is this guy that said it. The next Xbox is coming in 2026. They want to get out this generation because they realized the Series S was a mistake. Bingo. Like I said, I think the Series S is basically the equivalent to a mid-generation refresh for the Xbox One, right? Almost every console generation has been 6-7 years. They're going to be right on time. Instead of like the Series S in 2026, it will be a handheld, which makes sense because in Japan they're all on mobile devices. Okay, now granted, I'm not a world traveler, so I didn't know that. People who complain about digital are weird. I don't. So I'm not going to lie. Digital is just okay. Digital does what digital does. PC is 100% digital and nobody cares, which I agree. But, like, I mean, I still like a physical game disc. Phil Spencer said disk drives are a thing of the past, so production of disk drives are expensive, which I don't think they are. I don't think they are. I think they've already taken it into the price consideration. Now think about it. If the Series X gets a mid-generation refresh, then definitely taking that disk drive out is going to save money. But guess what Microsoft's going to do, and guess what Xbox is going to do? They're going to keep it the same goddamn price and sell it to us anyways. When there were multiple manufacturers, getting a disk drive could be cheap, but now they don't exist, so the price is high. It's really funny how YouTubers complain but don't understand the business side. No, I understand the business side. You know what they're going to do? They're going to shove it to you. They're going to make you pass on the cost, and you're going to pay for it. And this dummy, 360 games are like owning CDs in 2024. I strongly disagree because there's so many games that are out there nowadays that they come and they go. They'll take games off of marketplaces and all that stuff. And this guy, he says, "Whoa, you should be a corporate spokesperson. You have a gift there." And this last guy, the last comment here. What do you mean already? These consoles have been out for 4 years. We're living in an era where most tech upgrades are 6 months to a year. Yet in gaming, some people want console cycles to be like 6 to 7 years. Madness. It's not madness, especially if you're spending $500-$600 on a console. You want to get your money out of it. Like, not a lot of people can spend $500-$600 at a clip every year, 2 years on a console. So I feel like people should be able to get the money out of the console like they want. And don't get me wrong, like I said, I was bashing the Series S because of the lower price point. But the lower price point is what really bogged down Microsoft this generation of consoles. But like I said, I think 6 to 7 years is it's not bad. I'm not seeing people going out and building PCs every year, 6 months, just because the new came out. Like my PC, I built it 2 years ago, and I haven't upgraded anything in it yet, and it hums like a baby. Anyways, we're going full screen. I didn't realize how many comments that video was going to make, and like I love it. Like it was amazing. And I think that doing a video format like this and being able to respond to people in like this and be able to pull up some articles and talk about it, I think it's a very good way to do it, and it's a very good platform. Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day. Don't forget to mash that like button, subscribe, and let me know down in the comment section how wrong am I on some of my hot takes. Like, I mean, some of the stuff I have pulled up, so like you can't really argue too much on that. But with the disk drive stuff, I gotta strongly disagree with that guy. Anyways, you guys, Have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I'll catch you later.